So, hi everybody. Well, Angel, do you want to tell us where we're going?
We're going to a Bigfoot museum.
Woo!
It's called Expedition Bigfoot. And that's where we're going. And we're excited. We've been talking about this for like a freaking month and a half. And I'm pumped.
Yeah.
So most of our day is going to be filmed with Mike's phone using our gizmo that we talked about in our last video, one of our last videos. But I thought it'd be fun, necessary to capture, going to get Mike. So the plan is I'm ready. And I'm going to go get coffee and breakfast and go pick up my snoozy editor. I made it to where Mike is, which is good. How cute are our masks? So cute. I managed coffee with our festive matching straws, courtesy of Mike, and breakfast. Have a good day. The elusive Sasquatch. It's like a Wookiee.
So we're gonna have some fun on the way up because it's like 1 billion miles away.
A billion and two.
Right, sorry, 1 billion and two. Well, I guess 1 billion 1.5 now that we've been driving for a few minutes.
Yeah, like 3 minutes.
we're gonna finish our breakfast and we might come back with some Bigfoot trivia or questions or whatever. See you in a bit. And we're back.
Yeah.
So we're still driving because I think we're down to 998 million 0.4 miles.
It's not as far as I thought it was going to be because I have no point of reference for where we're going. But I thought it was going to be like, I don't know, like I thought the driving time was going to be a lot more than it actually is. So that's good.
Yeah, this place is actually in apple picking country in Georgia, so
yeah,
you know.
And we live in the city. Well, around the city. You live more city than I do.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So Angel, do you believe?
My shirt says that I do. So it's funny because I'm like super obsessed with this show called Paranormal Caught on Tape, and a lot of the videos on there are UFO and Bigfoot related. And I think, like, I always like to say that I'm very open-minded to the possibility of things we have not yet discovered, as far as, like, creatures of the ocean and, like, things like that. And I think, for me, I think the concept of Bigfoot is fun, but I'm not really sure. I think I heard recently about these 2 different theories about what this potential explanation of why Bigfoot is so elusive. And there's the 2 that, well, I don't know. The first one is that it has to do with like a dimensional touch. So like something where it's a theory, I'm sure it has a better name than that, where 2 dimensions accidentally connect. And when they connect, it creates this like weird effect. Something supernatural can happen, which actually is what some people believe spirits are. It's not necessarily voices of the dead or demons, but instead it's this concept that there's multiple dimensions, and when they touch, it causes very weird things to happen in both. So like that's one theory, is that Bigfoot is like dimension hopping, I guess. And then the other, which is something that I had said the other day, is that Bigfoot is an alien, essentially, and that's why like that he doesn't actually live here. They don't actually live here, and that they're traveled from somewhere else, and that's like why, like you never can, like nobody's killed one, shot one, footage is like really far away usually, that kind of stuff. So I don't know. I think I like to think of like things just being possible, but I'm not really sure.
So for me, coming from a I guess a scientific esque point of view.
Yeah.
If you cannot prove that something doesn't exist, then there is a possibility that it does exist.
Yeah, there's always a chance.
Yeah, and that's how I think of it. We there's evidence that it could exist, there's evidence that it could not exist, but I think until we can definitively say one or the other, and I don't think we're going to ever be able to definitively say that it doesn't exist, because it's so prevalent in so many different cultures. Like, you see them all around the world.
Oh my God, yeah, and they go by different names.
Yeah. Like here in the South, we have a skunk ape, which is basically Bigfoot. But yeah, so I think that that there is a possibility, and two, like, especially in the more heavily wooded areas, you're not able to explore or monitor it near enough.
No.
So you very well could have these pockets of cryptids out in, like, the Appalachians or in the Pacific Northwest, where the Bigfoot sightings seem to be more prevalent.
Yeah.
Because especially up in the Pacific Northwest, because the ecosystem would support something like that. Especially on the rivers. You've got salmon coming in. You've got.
I think Utah is like one of the biggest ones. Like, it's like Utah is just like. I mean, like, it's just known for having, like, a lot of sightings and a lot of things like that around Bigfoot.
Yeah, but it's so I think it's plausible that it could exist. I would be more surprised if somebody proved that they didn't exist than if they proved that it does exist.
Yeah.
It's really the way I'm feeling about it.
Well, and a lot of people talk about, too, like, when you think about the original photo, like the original photo from the 60s, 67, I think, I don't know, late 60s. But, like, you're talking about a time where, like, Photoshop and the ability to manipulate images to the extent that we can now doesn't really exist. And they've tried numerous times to replicate that footage, like what they've seen. And they, like, have a really hard time disproving it, even now, with the advances in technology, with the ability to create costumes and make, like, that kind of thing. And so that's kind of interesting too. I think, like, I do think that if they are real, I don't think it's like a threat to humanity by any means. I feel like if that were the case, we'd be Planet of the Apes by now. But
and fun fact about that photo, it's actually a frame from a almost full minute video.
Right, I know.
The Patterson-Gimlin film.
Yeah.
No, it's the most conclusive.
Yeah.
Even though it's been, they've tried to prove its authenticity and also tried to debunk it several times over the past few decades, and up until I think it was Patterson's death in the 70s, he's maintained that it's real, and Gimlin, it's the same way. He's said multiple times that it's real, that it happened.
Yeah.
And so we don't really know. Like, it's pretty good evidence. I mean, granted, would they exist now still? Maybe not. Who knows?
Yeah.
But but there's
I think at the very least, I think, like, it's fun to learn about, to hear the stories, to talk to people, to see the footage that people have got, like, over the years, and just being able to have the conversations and thing. I think, like, even in its basic, like, level, it's at least kind of a fun thing to entertain the idea of it existing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're going to keep driving a little bit, and we'll check in with y'all soon. Okay, so we're just a few minutes away.
Yep.
So do you have any expectations?
I don't know. know. I think right now I'm just really hoping there's not a lot of people there. I'm really self-conscious about recording stuff in front of people. And so, like, that's kind of my worry. But otherwise, I think I'm just kind of expecting maybe some history, some background. Because my understanding is, like, where the location that we're going to is not like a big Bigfoot location. Like, it's not like when you look up certain places and they're like, oh yeah, we see, you know, shit all the time. Like, this isn't really like that. So I'd be curious to see why it got opened and learn just like a little bit of history. And I'm kind of expecting at least that, to be able to learn a little bit about like why they made it there. If the owner is just like a Bigfoot enthusiast, like, you know.
Yeah.
I'm also expecting some cute photos in our matchy-matchies.
Yeah. So we got matching shirts, matching masks. I'm hoping there aren't that many people there today. Not because of filming or anything like that, but I just don't want to see that many people.
Oh God,
today.
no, that's so true. And I feel like I'd rather like experience things like I'm the only person that exists. Which
can confirm
is not like, I just don't want other people like to get in the way of my experience. But the other side of that is we might meet some interesting people while we're there. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah. So.
And they did give us permission to film, if we didn't say that already. So we have permission to film as long as we're not rude about it, and as long as we don't film like a walkthrough, which we wouldn't do anyway.
Yeah.
It's a small business.
Yeah, we're not gonna do a whole lot of filming in there. We'll
mostly pictures.
Yeah, it'll be mostly pictures. We'll have we'll do a little bit of filming. Maybe we can talk to some people.
Yeah.
Something like that. I don't know. But yeah, I'm just expecting to have a good time. It's a day out on the road. It's a field trip for us. And I think we're just gonna have a good time. And if we learn something, great. If we don't, that's fine too.
I think it's still gonna be fun. And weird. I'm expecting it to be weird. I like weird.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're gonna keep on keeping on, and we'll try not to stop for too much apple brandy on the way. Like I said, we are in the middle of apple country, and this is right after the big apple picking part of the season, so lots of apple alcohol related things are being pushed now. But anyway, so we're gonna do that, and then we'll see y'all later, and I'll try to get some of this beautiful scenery too. And here we are.
We're here.
As soon as people get out of the way.
I'm going.
Whee!
Oh.
Yeah. Boom.
Chattahoochee National Forest.
Yeah.
That's better.
So here we are.
Is this all real, you think? Like, I guess
What?
this is just for, like, don't pollute. Okay. Cute. It's definitely bigger than I thought. What are your first impressions?
It is a lot more of a real production.
Yeah. I concur. walked around. We had some delicious lunch. We went and got some yummy chocolates. And now we're back on the road and headed home.
Yep. As we stop at a red light.
Yeah, but we got like a couple more, I think, and then we're like, whoosh.
Yeah.
So first and foremost, this place exceeded my expectations, I think. I think that one of the things that kind of surprised me, and Mike and I talked about this briefly earlier, was that chocolate on my pants. Was that like going into it, I didn't know what to expect from the people that work there, because they deal with people coming in and maybe being rude or like not maybe very friendly. And so I didn't know how we were going to be perceived coming in as a channel. Like I didn't know if but they were so nice. And so nice, in fact, that the guy that sold us our tickets pulled out his phone and subscribed to our YouTube channel.
Like immediately.
And that was so cool of him. And he said that like other channels and stuff come in and they do like, it's like cryptid show, like YouTube channels. And I was kind of explaining a little bit about this one. And like he, but I thought that was really cool. And even the guy that did our ticket that was like telling us kind of how to navigate it was like, I don't know, like I was just really impressed with how warm the staff was, because you can say what you want. That shit makes an experience or ruins an experience.
Yeah, it really does. And not only at the end when we were it was at the end after we got done with the museum, the other person at the counter asked about the channel as well. And she was looking at they had pulled up a couple of videos already with like the Halloween looks and stuff like that. And so they were asking questions. They were genuinely interested in the channel. So I think that's really cool.
And he said that one of the guys that we interacted with, he was like, "Oh, I'll have to make sure and let the owner know." Because we told him we're doing an entire episode about this trip. And they were like, "Oh, that's so great. Thank you so much." Like they were just really sweet, warm people. And I feel like when you go to places like that, you just don't know what you're gonna get. And they were really cool. Otherwise, I had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
A lot of fun.
I think we both had a lot of fun.
Saw a lot of things. I don't even know. Like we, I think so. I guess the best place to start is, so my favorite part of this experience, other than interacting with the people that work there, is they have these different stations where you can listen to sound clips and stories and a couple different things like that. And I think that was my favorite part. Like I thought, I had already heard about the attack. Oh shoot, I'm drawing a blank on where it was now. There was this recorded story of these two guys. That's the one. And so like I had already heard about that story before, but they had like an audio of like a retelling of the story and like what happened. And I really liked that, and I liked listening to some of the weird sounds that they've captured in the woods that they believe could be Bigfoot. Like I realized that I know a little, but we watched a thing that told us about quite a few of the different names that I'd never heard of for what he's called in different parts. I don't know, like I just hearing other people's stories and like hearing the sounds and seeing the evidence, I think that hit me a little different than I thought it would. And I think the sound parts were like, that was like my favorite part of the whole thing, for sure.
Yeah, and I really liked how they went through all the cultures and whatnot. It kind of reminded me of how like dragons are generally considered to not have existed. However, there isn't a single civilization in the world that doesn't have stories about dragons. Right. And so and to see like across 6 of the 7 continents and all that, like it was interesting. And the areas that they came up on, a lot of them were in like forested areas or sparsely visited by us, but they also had like rivers and streams and stuff that are good food sources and whatnot. So it wasn't, I don't think the museum would change anybody's mind.
No, I think you have to either go in on one side or the other.
Yeah.
What was kind of cool, and I wish I could, now like Mike had mentioned this, and I'm kind of wishing I'd like maybe put myself out there a little bit more, but so they have a guest book that you sign when you're getting ready to like get closer to the gift shop, like at the end of the experience, expedition. And there was a guy that signed it like right before we got to it that said, "True believer, I have photos, call me." And I was like, what? Like,
yeah.
Like that would have been neat if I like, because I thought I saw who it was, but then I started second guessing myself, and I didn't want to seem weird, so I just kind of went into a shell, and I didn't. But I'm like, damn. But it was a really cool experience. I think like I think one thing that did strike me that I don't think I'd ever thought about before is the for lack of a better word, I guess, like the animalistic nature of a possibility of this cryptid existing, because like there was a story about a dog that was in a not a kennel, it's more like a shelter, I don't know what you'd call it.
A run.
Yeah, and so like his owner, her owner had made this like outdoor shelter for her and her 12 puppies. And so she had kind of been acting weird earlier that day, but he didn't really know what to think of it, but he had to go into town, so he was gone for like an hour and a half. And when he came back, she was like beaten up pretty badly. I'll spare you the details. And but they essentially, like, there was like markings on the tree that suggested something had picked her up and hit her against that tree a few times, and her puppies were missing. And I guess I never thought about that, because I've always thought of like, I mean, as cliche as or as dumb as it may sound, I've always thought of Sasquatch or Bigfoot as like this like gentle giant. But that kind of made me think more about the fact that like if he's out there, he's an animal. Like he has instincts, he has like things like, I don't know, like I guess I never thought about it like that, you know? Like I never thought about that side of it. And it just kind of, so reading that story and like thinking like if that is what really happened to the dog, like that's kind of a scarier, you know, like that makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it just kind of reminds everybody that they're wild animals. Like,
yeah.
You know, regardless of what we think of them, that's what they are, you know. But yeah, I think my favorite part of the museum was the intermission before the movie started. Now, I say that with jest. It was a fantastic.
Really,
it was a really cute part.
Cute.
They had like old school intermission commercials.
Yeah, like concession commercials.
Yeah, like
and stuff like that.
From like the 60s and 70s.
Yeah.
But I think one of my favorite parts about it was really like really the whole thing. I mean, it's weird because it's not just a place where I think that there's like certain parts of it. There are really cool things, and I'm sorry for the camera shaking. The road on this side is a little bit rougher than it was on the side coming in.
Yeah, but those cars are going really slow.
Yeah,
I'll get back over in a minute.
And there we go. Yeah, so camera's going a little crazy right now, but it's okay.
There we go. Oh, this is better.
Should stop at the scenic view.
Where is it?
It's up here.
Okay. I don't want to miss it again.
I know, it's a blue sign, so you probably didn't see it. It said scenic view 1 mile.
I was looking this way.
Anyway, so yeah, it's just a really cool place. You know, one thing that I wish they'd change, I guess, would be the movie in the theater. They have two of them going on. There's one that's this is really cool older documentary about searching for the Yeti. And then there's another one that is neat. Like, it talks about some neat stuff, but the way it's presented, it just misses.
Well, and I think part of the reason that we feel like it should be switched, this doesn't look anything like the other side. Oh, I see. I guess right here?
Yeah.
Okay. And I think part of it, I think part of it is because when I was thinking about going in and like sitting down and watching like a video, I'm thinking I'm going to get like information. I'm going to hear a lot of things that I hadn't heard before. And it really wasn't as much like that. Like, I feel like they should have swapped them. I feel like they should have put the documentary or whatever it was we're watching in the other room in that one.
Yeah.
But otherwise, like, yeah.
Yeah. So, and, but highly recommend going and taking a look. It's not it's not campy or hokey or anything like that.
I really
if you're
didn't feel like
that's going to be the case. It really wasn't.
Yeah.
And I think we might do a follow-up.
Yeah,
later.
I'd like to talk to the owner.
Yeah, that would be,
and just
that would
get
be
to
really
learn
cool.
like why, like what made him make it, like how did he go about like getting these things? Because one of the things that we learned when we were there is a lot of the artifacts and stuff were given to them from the people who actually used them during their encounters or their experiences, and I thought that was really neat.
Mm-hmm.
It just brings a level of authenticity to it,
Yeah.
So I thought that was cool.
So we're gonna look at some pretty views, and we're gonna have we'll have that up on the video too, so y'all can enjoy too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Am I doing my goodbye?
You can if you'd like, or
And
we
then
can
I guess
do.
you just put the stuff in the other parts.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if we go back to the Bigfoot Museum, hopefully we can do an interview with the owner, and we'll do a video on that too, maybe.
Yeah.
If we go back.
All right.
Okay. Well, let us know if you guys want us to check out more places like this where there's like sightings or museums for cryptids and things like that. My goal is to one day be able to like afford to take off and like go and see Pleasant Point for Mothman. That'd be goals.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, I hope you guys have a good rest of your week. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you next one.